hearing this right now, it sounds really difficult. You don't have an agreement in place. You've got two partners that are, functionally serving the business. Your role isn't as important. Like what is the recourse? Like, how do you, I don't want to say win in that situation, but how do you even recover damages and come out in a good place in that situation?
It's a great question. So what you wind up having is there are what's called, minority shareholder rights. Just like there's this term that's kind of used all the time, minority shareholder oppression, there's minority shareholder rights. And so there's a couple of basic rights that you have as an owner of a company, right? And whether you're an owner of a small piece or a large piece, you have these rights. So one right is the right to information, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you write to your company and you say, hey, I want to see your tax returns, I want to see, the financials of the company, I want to see the bank statements, I want to see the credit card statements, you have a right to that. And so if they're objecting that, that's one of the things that you could go right to a court to. And there's a specific law that pertains to that forces them to respond to this within a certain period of time. And if you don't respond to this within a certain period of time, the person could just go right to the court on just that one narrow issue. Hey, they're not giving me information. I need information.
Awesome.
So that's number one. The second thing is there's this concept called reasonable expectations. And it's a creature of law that was created. It's not really written out in like the statutes of Pennsylvania, but if you read the court's decisions over a long period of time, they've essentially found that as an owner of a company, you have certain reasonable expectations. And so let's say, in our example, these three people own this company. That person, when she started, she thought she was going to be employed with this company for a long time, right? Mm-hmm. She dedicated her full time to it at the time. And she, it was probably her main or sole source of income for a long time before they started doing this, right?
Right. I see where this is going, right?
And so she can come to a court potentially and say, hey, I had a reasonable expectation of involvement. And so the court has set forth specific reasonable expectations. One of them is this information. Sometimes if you were, always employed with this business, it could be a reasonable expectation of employment, right? So I was getting a salary. This was my main income. And so I thought that would continue for the entire time that I'm a shareholder.
Right.
And so you guys kicking me out for no reason, okay, fine. I won't come to the office, but keep paying my salary, mm-hmm. right? And so that's another one. Reasonable expectation is a reasonable expectation of employment. And then another one is a reasonable expectation in say in management, right? And so, if you guys are having meetings without me and just making decisions without me, and I don't even get called for that meeting, well, my rights there are being oppressed. At a minimum, I should be heard, right? I should know what the company's doing. I should know what decisions are being made, and I should be heard on these decisions.